Behind the ongoing military conflict in eastern Ukraine lies an economic split. The country is moving towards Europe, straining its historic trade links to Russia.
Ukraine has always been this bridge in some ways between Russia and Europe. Ukraine is they're caught between a vice.
Some background on the decision-making in Kiev and whether it can ever fully choose between East and West.
We are ready for reform. We are ready for Europe.
This summer, over Russian objections, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko signed a trade pact with the European Union.
If it is implemented, it would potentially unleash a lot of latent growth potential that exists in a country that is resource-rich and has a well-developed human capital, 45 million population, right in the center of Europe, and is remarkably poor given all those factors.
Ukraine's exports will increase by 50% in the course of 5 years or so. So it means a massive expansion of trade.
Steel manufacturers, exporters of agricultural products, those are the companies that are going to do well because they will find a better market, a more vibrant market in the EU.
Our joint goal is your full integration into the market of the European Union, the world's richest and largest.
But access to Western markets came with a catch, specifically loans with tight restrictions totaling $27 billion.
Ukraine paid the highest possible price to make her European dreams come true.
To keep its lenders happy, Ukraine will have to institute austerity measures, while at the same time investing in infrastructure to meet Europe's higher production standards.
It really suggests that Ukraine will transform itself in terms of its political economy into a modern, well-governed state, which it has not been in its 23 years of independence.
Its economy is a mess. It's just in no position to become a member of the EU.
And there may be limitations to how much the European Union will embrace one of Ukraine's main hopes for growth.
The EU spends a lot of money subsidizing its own agricultural sector, by some estimates over 40% of its budget, and is loath to completely open its market to a potential major agricultural powerhouse like Ukraine.
They really want Ukraine to be, in some ways, symbolically part of Europe, but not entirely. What they would love is to have a nice trade agreement with Ukraine and have Russia happy about it.
Russia is another complication to Ukraine's economic partnership with Europe.
Мы считаем, что такое раскрытие рынка для нас очень опасно и неприемлемо.
Moscow remains Kiev's top trading partner and has responded to Western overtures by threatening to cut Ukraine off from the free trade agreement between Russia and most former Soviet neighbors.
Losing that market overnight, if Russia were to, in fact, enforce those kinds of measures, would be quite damaging and would take a long time to recover from, which would essentially amount to a significant raising of tariffs on Ukrainian exports to Russia and other Ukraine's former Soviet neighbors.
Russia has Gazprom and gas as a huge lever of power over the Ukraine.
Ukraine has enough, people say, in its gas reservoirs, its storage facilities to last potentially through the winter, some say until the fall. In any case, it can't go on forever without receiving deliveries of gas.
So far, Russia hasn't followed through on its economic threats, while military tensions in eastern Ukraine continue to rise.
В чому мета Росії? Захопити Україну? Так не вдасться. Створити нам економічні труднощі? Переживемо.
The question is whether Ukraine can maintain its links both to the east and the west. In the end, it may have no choice.
I think what Ukraine is trying to do, and it may not be successful, is to have it both ways. There are going to be terrible negotiations, there'll be loss of life, but I think for Ukraine to think that it can cut off Russia is unrealistic. It's like the US cutting off relations with Mexico.
This is certainly a man-made problem that has been created by policy choices that have been made over the last 5 to 10 years, a problem that humans can fix if they are so inclined.